Can we talk about, since we have a new platform that we're doing this on how we get our own TikTok that is not Kenny?
We do really need to work on that. We really do. We need to get with the times, boys, and
There's
it
got to be
cannot be through
something with
Kenny.
that.
Look, TikTok's getting banned anyways. I mean, but let's not rush it. That's all I'm saying.
We'll find ways around it. We're good at technology, aren't we?
How are you finding your way around that ban in Texas?
There are ways. Let me just say that. It's not the
Go
only. It's
on.
not the only site. What is up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of the Ride the Pine podcast. It is the 40th episode of the show. I am, of course, Sean Sproat, the host and producer. Joining me, of course, is Cameron May, Adam Freeman. No Kenny Hudden tonight. He couldn't make it, so it's just a three-man crew. 40th episode, guys. How does that make you feel? Over about a year and a half period.
Are you just saying that because we have a fancy new setup?
We do have a fancy new setup, and I am kind of just saying it for that reason. If you're
That's
watching
what I
on YouTube or Spotify, look, it looks different now. It looks different than it did before. If you are on Apple or iHeartRadio, just imagine it.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta jump in and just say, our bad for doing this for a year and a half and just now getting to 40. As you can see, we're great at planning things out sometimes.
You know, this is a weekly show. There are 52 weeks within a year. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that mean we miss like what, one out of every 3 weeks.
about, on
Yeah,
average,
all right.
Except for the 28-week layoff.
that feels pretty
You did have
good.
a long layoff. There was a delay in sports. I don't know.
You know, we were on strike. We couldn't get our old platform to work, and we tried to boycott them, much like the MLS supporters are boycotting League Cup, and this is where we got. We're back, baby.
Hence the new look. So the strike is over. The lockout is over. Ride the Pine is back. And since we're back, Cameron, where can people interact with the show?
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Pod Ride the Pine. On Instagram, at Pod_Ride the Pine. You can get us on TikTok at RTP-Kenny. And on YouTube, Ride the Pine Podcast. Like, subscribe, leave comments on things. We are actually just started up our March Madness bracket tournament over on Twitter. You could find that. You could also find it on our Instagram. It is called Ride the Pine on CBS Sports. Shout out to CBS Sports. Come join us.
What do we want to talk about today? Adam, what's on your list?
Let's do the biggest topic first, NFL free agency. And really it doesn't have to be any of the major signings. What signings do you guys see that are the biggest for any team? I'll go first. Personally, I think Kirk Cousins makes the Falcons the NFC South champions next year. I'll go on record saying that now. I think that's the biggest signing.
I mean, will they finally use the weapons that they have if they have a capable quarterback, even though he's almost 40 coming off a torn Achilles? I agree that that's probably the biggest signing, but is it going to make a difference with that coach?
I think it has to. I think you have to adjust your entire thinking. If you're going to spend that kind of money on a quarterback and you get a quarterback that is actually worth it, you have to put forth the effort. They're going to have to use Robinson. They're going to have to get Kyle Pitts the ball. Drake London's going to get more catches too. I think that makes that team even more dangerous, and I think they have the 8th overall pick too.
It seems to make the most sense. They always, everyone always like say, "Oh, we're just a quarterback away." Atlanta actually seemed like they may have just been a quarterback away. So, I mean, I think that's a great take. I'm not going to jump on board with you, but I appreciate you saying it.
Thank you.
I think they overpaid for him. I don't think that it's that great of a move. I think all they did is guarantee themselves a first-round exit out of the playoffs, which I guess is better than what they've had the last few years anyway. I was going to say Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens because I thought they were one dynamic piece away from going to the Super Bowl. I think Derrick Henry is huge for them, and it's on a 2-year deal.
Yeah,
I would say him and Barkley are equal signings, in my opinion. I don't think it doesn't necessarily put either team over the top, but it puts both of them in a top contender position. Let's put it that way.
I mean, that's huge for Baltimore. I mean, the big thing is the wear and tear. If he truly is still Derrick Henry, if all the carries throughout the years have not gotten to him, then that is an incredible deal for them. It just, you get the finesse of Lamar Jackson running, the speed, the quick cuts, and you get the power of Henry. I mean, it's just going to be a dynamic rushing attack.
Which they already were, but Derrick Henry is just another level.
Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry, though.
Man, what about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Do you guys like any of the moves that they made? Are you high on the Russell Wilson move and the Justin Fields move?
No, not a one.
Those are horrible.
Who's going to start?
I mean,
neither of them deserve to.
Russell Wilson's probably your starter, right? And Justin Fields is going to sit.
I mean, that's what makes sense, but why? Why make the move? I mean, the Bears fumbled it worse than anyone. What'd they get back? A 5th-round pick?
A 6th. Conditional to a 4th.
Right.
Yeah.
Even better. Now we'll split the difference. 5th. That is garbage. And are they taking Caleb Williams? Are they doing it?
They better at this point.
I mean, isn't it kind of just replacing one with the other? Kind of a off the cuff player, likes to freestyle a lot of plays, not necessarily great in the system, likes to use his legs. Is it going to make a difference for Chicago? I hope it doesn't, because
I've said it for a while. I don't think Caleb Williams is deserving of the number 1 pick. I don't. I'll fully admit that in our football league, I was wrong on Patrick Mahomes. It is what it is.
That's a tough look.
Yeah, tough break. But I don't think Caleb Williams is that great. He really isn't a fantastic quarterback. He's an above-average quarterback with the ability to make plays, and I would say an above-average arm. I mean, that probably ends up meaning he becomes a top 15 quarterback in the NFL at some point, which is playoff serviceable, but I don't think he's that great of a quarterback.
I think Fields is better.
I don't disagree.
I
don't know if he's drastically, but I think I would take him right now over Williams. Honestly, to me, they probably should have kept Fields for the extra year. It's not worth the 6th-round pick, basically, and let Caleb Williams at least sit for a year and get used to it and make sure that's who you want.
Or keep Fields. You could have traded down, gotten a decent amount of pieces to build around Fields, and if he doesn't perform, then you go out and you make the big move in free agency to sign the quarterback that you want. This just feels like another example of the Bears doing what the Bears do, which is just play mediocre football and then make moves to continue to play mediocre football. It doesn't make sense to me what they did.
I mean, there's a lot of things that don't really seem to be making a ton of sense. Perfect example. What the hell are the Chargers doing? What is their long-term goal here by trading away, or not trading away, letting people sign some trades, getting rid of everyone that's on their team? It's just going to be Herbert and probably a whole bunch of kids from Michigan who Harbaugh drafts. Is that a good strategy?
They're going to run the power I. You don't need a quarterback when you have J.J. McCarthy. He just takes the snap, he drops back. He can do the same thing with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert will do it even better for you.
Will?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And I don't know. That's a shitty position to be in anyways, because you're going against the Chiefs. So it's not like you're going to have this easy time to get through your division, and you still have to go through probably the best team for the next 5 years in the NFL will be in your division. So, yeah, I don't understand what he's doing. The one thing I do want to hit on, Sean, you said this as we started talking about it, that you don't agree with the money that they paid Kirk Cousins. At what point are they going to stop paying quarterbacks to be the next highest paid quarterback and pay according to scale? You know, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback. He should probably be paid the most. And I know you can work the cap and do all that stuff to do it, but it doesn't matter. Like that, if Dak Prescott gets extended, he's going to be more than all of these guys. Is he worth it? No. It has to change. Like this is getting ridiculous.
I think the whole thing with that though is that we all know that having a decent to good quarterback completely changes the outcome of your franchise for the next 5 to 10 years, sometimes even longer. That's why these guys are paid so much. That's not going to change, man. You know that. Like there's no way. If anything, it's going to increase. If Kirk Cousins, have you looked at the deals that he's gotten? The 3 different deals he's gotten over his career, they're astronomical. I'll work on go ahead and pulling them up here, but he has fleeced the NFL. I don't know who his agent is, but my God, is that guy working overtime, and he deserves a bonus.
Well, it's just timing of the deals. I mean, that's the big part of it is that he's able to get it as he basically becomes the best quarterback on the market. I mean, let's face it, there's nobody else that was on this market that was going to compete with what he can potentially be able to do right now. So he's going to get the most money. If you keep doing 2 to 3 year deals and you plan it out that way, you're a genius in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, we can't have I guess unless he tears his other Achilles, we can't have another Aaron Rodgers situation where the biggest quarterback move of the offseason
Is to
just
become vice president.
yeah, that that would be one of the most American things I could possibly think of. Future Hall of Fame quarterback is the vice president now. Uh, just because. Let's throw him in there.
Really quickly, Kirk Cousins in his NFL career, he's made $281.5 million. He is in the top 5 highest earners in NFL history.
That's working the
really
system to your advantage.
I mean, he's the starter version of Chase Daniel, the greatest backup quarterback there ever was. Had to shout him out for Kenny, M-I-Z.
ZOU.
Can I throw out a sneaky pick for the team that had the best offseason in terms of free agency? How about the Washington Commanders? They went a little under the radar. They signed Marcus Mariota for a 1-year, $6 million deal. They got Austin Eckler on a 2-year deal. They got Jamison Crowder, Zach Ertz for a veteran presence. They went out and got Dante Fowler Jr., Bobby Wagner. I mean, some of the names are kind of on the older side, but that's depth. I really like the Austin Eckler move. And Mariota, when healthy, is a decent quarterback.
Yeah, and they're going to draft Drake May to go with it.
Yeah.
And they're
Or
a young
probably,
team
actually probably be Jaden Daniels.
They're a young team from being bad for so long. They're going to have, you got to bring in some older guys to kind of set the culture, reset everything after the disaster that was the past decade of Washington football.
Dan Snyder.
I think that's a playoff team, and I think that is a foundation you can build on for the next few years. We might be talking about the Washington Commanders winning the division in the next 3 to 4 years.
Okay, I was about to say, in that division this year, I don't.
You remember what division they play in, right?
No, not this year. I mean, right now
they're better
still,
than the Giants.
Well, no, I think they're better than the Cowboys. The Cowboys haven't made a single offseason move besides signing their
long snapper.
They were already perfect. That's Charlotte. That's not true. They signed Albert Pujols. Do you see Dak Prescott's new haircut?
The other one that I thought was a good trade, or not, I guess signing. I think it was technically a signing. Is Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I think that makes that offense even more legit. And if they're still going to be drafting a wide receiver with the last pick in the first round, which to me makes all the sense in the world, that offense stays high powered as it should be. You have Rashee Rice on one side, Hollywood Brown on the other, and then they're talking about having most likely either Adonai Mitchell or Xavier Worthy, either one from Texas, to be able to be the slot guy. I mean, that is going to be a very nasty offense if that's the route that they go.
I also think the Buccaneers will kind of take a step forward. They secured Baker, and Baker played great last year, and they managed to keep Mike Evans. So, I mean, I think they're a team that's on the rise, a team on the come up.
Yeah, but did they do anything besides just re-signing those guys? Did they really go out and do really anything else? Bryce Hall, maybe? That's the other big name. Jordan Whitehead signed a 2-year deal. Past that, there's nothing else that they did that really jumps out at me. I mean, Chase Edmonds is a good backup. That's about it.
I mean, they played good last year for stretches. They also
Yeah,
had
and
some
they're in the
meltdowns,
NFC
but
South too. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, because who's going to compete with them right now? I mean, we just
The
talked about it
Falcons.
at Atlanta. I still think that they're better on paper than they are in real life, or they're going to be better on paper than they are in real life.
Right,
Saints,
but
maybe.
both teams are gonna play the Panthers twice,
Yeah.
and the Saints. So there's easily 3 wins, if not 4 wins, and then if you split with the other one, there's 5. So now you just have to go out and play your non-divisional games at basically 500 football. I mean, to me, that both of those teams should be playoff teams.
But that kind of goes back to my point that they're going to end up probably winning their division and then getting knocked out first round in the playoffs. When I say they, I refer to the Atlanta Falcons. Everything that you're saying, that just tells me that they're just going to be good in their division and they're not going to be good anywhere else.
well, the big thing is how many primetime games are they going to get? Because we know Kirk Cousins in primetime don't mesh well.
That's true.
It depends. Does Coles have any sales on those days?
All
Coles
right.
always has sales. You got to stack that Coles cash and know when to use it. Get your points in.
Coles is the biggest ripoff in
Where's
the
the
world.
clearance
For
section?
sure.
You know, the red
It is
tags.
it is so messed up that everything is on sale, but all it is just marked down from what the original price was
If
that they
everything
raised
is on
15%.
sale, nothing is.
Right.
All right, where do we go from here? Do you want anything else on NFL free agency? Did we forget any big moves? I'm kind of going through the list. I'm not seeing much. Sam Darnold to the Vikings, if that's your jam. Um,
He's back.
he's back, baby. I'm not really coming across much else.
No, I think we hit on most of them. Let's go to the other version of football. Sean, I want to hear. I know you've been quiet in our text thread. I want to hear your thought on all these supporter groups bailing out on MLS teams because they're not in the Open Cup.
Just the League Cup, to be clear for listeners at home.
Same thing.
So, the supporter sections and supporter groups are bailing on Leagues Cup because MLS is not fielding every single team in the U.S. Open Cup. So they're boycotting Leagues Cup. And for those of you who are already confused, I apologize. It's just going to get worse. Leagues Cup is the MLS tournament in conjunction with Liga MX, where all of the teams compete in a 1 month long, like month and a half really long tournament. My thoughts. I agree with all of the supporter groups. I don't know what the right word is. Frustration with the fact that they're not in the U.S. Open Cup. U.S. Open Cup is extremely important. I don't necessarily think boycotting Leagues Cup is the answer. I know, Cameron, you and I have talked about this. I don't know. I agree with it to an extent. Open Cup is extremely important. A lot of those groups did not support the U.S. Open Cup when they were playing in it, and that was reflected by attendance, and that was reflected by viewership. And some of that is on them. Some of that is on United States Soccer Federation for not putting the games up in prime time or on big networks. But also, if you're going to go to bat for Open Cup this hard, where the hell were you for the last 25 to 50 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's dumb. that's just my personal opinion. I feel like that's been voiced on Twitter at Swimfly1321. If you want to follow me as well personally, it's tough in these streets. I've been called a plastic fan for saying I disagree with the boycott flat out, which is quite something as a season ticket holder for our team here. I think there's better ways to do it than just taking the revenue, the gate revenue, and the alcohol sales away from the teams. I get it; it's single entity. I think it would make much more of a statement if you still took your tickets and did a walkout. Sit there, St. Louis has won Open Cup 10 times. In the 10th minute, everyone get up and walk out of the supporter section. I mean, really make a statement. They won't be able to ignore it on the broadcast. I think if anything, they're the ones being the plastic fans. Open Cup's extremely important to American soccer and to the community, to the youth leagues, to USL, to everyone else. But like Sean said, no one went to the games anyways. The only time that it ever got traction was an MLS team playing in a USL stadium. We have an MLS team now. It's not making a difference. You guys weren't there last year when they were in it. And the team didn't take it seriously, and it's not even the team's fault that they're not in it. St. Louis City already came out and made a statement. They wanted to be in it, and MLS said no because they were already in too many competitions.
Yeah, because they're in Champions League. Yeah, Champions Cup. Which, by the way, the reason why they didn't have any of the Champions Cup teams in it because they didn't want a congested schedule. 6 of the 8 Champions Cup teams are knocked out, so they would have been able to play in U.S. Open Cup.
I don't understand the theory behind boycotting the team. The Open Cup is massively important to U.S. soccer, and it's very disappointing to not have all of the teams in it that should be in it. I mean, you think of the FA Cup over in Europe, and how important that is to the culture of European soccer, or really of English soccer. I mean, I think that's something that we really should try to figure out, or Soccer Federation needs to figure out on their own how we can get this to work right. Personally, to me, to have Champions Cup and Leagues Cup all in the same thing, it's the same damn teams playing against each other. Why do we need to have 2 different versions of it? I don't understand that. But the part that pisses me off is that, and I'll call them out straight up, the Luligans. You're a supporter group, St. Louis City. The front of your shirt supports St. Louis City. You want to make this about you? Figure out something different, because you're not supporting the team that you're supposed to be supporting. You're supporting the name on the back that says Luligans. You're going with their opinion on it. Every supporter group, I don't care who it is. It could be whatever I don't even know the other ones. There's thousands of them just for St. Louis, but it makes no difference. It would be, like Cameron said, a much bigger statement if they walked out. Because you know what's going to happen? I'm going to buy those supporter tickets. I'm going to sit in that section. I'll be happy to do so. I don't care. I'm going to support the team. I'm not supporting MLS. I'm not supporting, Leagues Cup in general. I'm supporting the team. To bail on your team that you supposedly support is complete bullshit, in my opinion.
I pointed that out to them. You know what they all said was, well, have fun sitting in an empty section by yourself. If you think that you are so goddamn important that no one is going to want to buy your tickets, and your word is the gospel, and therein lies the problem with our exact supporter groups that we have in this area. They think their shit don't stink. If you're not a fan the exact same way they're a fan, then you're worthless to them. You're not part of the team. You're not part of the movement. You're not important to anyone. If you're not with us, then you're against us. Doesn't matter if you're for the team. If you're not in there with them, waving your flags, if you're not showing up to all of this, then you're not a real fan. You're a plastic fan. I don't mind that I have season tickets in an area that gives the team much more revenue than they do. That's beside the point, apparently.
I appreciate their resentment against not being in the Open Cup. I appreciate that. I do think that the boycott of Leagues Cup and not attending the games or not buying the tickets is the problem, kind of like we've mentioned. If I had my way and I was part of the supporter group, if I was part of the Luligans and the Punks and all of them, Florida Noise, I would have my tickets. I would purchase the tickets. I would not attend, but the tickets would be purchased. I wouldn't resell them. I wouldn't do anything with them. The tickets would be bought. The money, majority of that revenue, it's like 75%, maybe a little more, goes to the team, not MLS. So you're still supporting the team. And then when I'm not attending the Leagues Cup game, I'm not watching it on TV, because that's where they're getting the money from. The league is getting now. It's a little difficult nowadays because of Apple. because it's really subscriptions more than actual viewership. But turn your TV off. That is going to show Apple and it's going to show the league that we don't give a shit about your made up Leagues Cup tournament. We're not watching, and they're going to see the viewership numbers, and then maybe something will change. I wouldn't hurt St. Louis City. I would hurt Apple. That's where I would. That's what I would attack. I don't feel as strongly as you do, Cameron.
But even so, like, and that's the perfect point, though, is that not purchasing a ticket doesn't do anything except hurt the team. And if you really think that nobody else is going to buy those tickets, you're absolutely an idiot. Like, those tickets are going to sell. There are so many people that want to watch the team play. They would love to go to games, but don't because they can't get tickets because it's already sold out or the prices are already jacked up. Now you're telling me I can get supporter section tickets at normal cost? All right, cool. I'm going to try to go to that game. I won't watch it on Apple. I'll be at the game, so they're not going to get my views on it.
Right.
That's where what pisses me off more than anything is that they think they're doing something and they're not doing anything. They're hurting the team that they support, which is the total opposite of what they should be doing.
I think Sean had the best point. Buy your tickets. Don't show up. If you actually want the section to be empty, keep your tickets and don't use them.
Right.
Everyone gets the money. The section looks low. I mean, you're going to hear about it from everyone for, if people actually do tune in to watch the Leagues Cup games and they see that section is actually empty, people are going to talk about it. People are going to talk about you as well for not being there. You're going to have to deal with that criticism the same way that everyone else has to deal with criticism. But that is a much better solution than not giving the team your money. I get single entity thing. That's the thing that they're going to preach. But like you said, 75% stays with City, 25% goes to MLS.
And I don't know how accurate that number is. It's somewhere around there. It's somewhere
Roughly.
around 75% of ticket sales. I don't fully quote me on that. But the whole reason why Leagues Cup exists is because MLS did not agree with how U.S. Soccer Federation was running the U.S. Open Cup. They didn't think they marketed it enough. They didn't think that they sold it enough. So they went out and they created their own tournament with Liga MX to make it a global tournament. And that's why Apple exists. Like, not just people from the U.S. and Mexico are going to be watching Leagues Cup. People from Africa, Asia, Europe, like everyone who has Apple subscription, MLS Season Pass, has the opportunity to watch that. So when they turn on the game and they tune into St. Louis and the stadium is empty and there's no supporter groups and there's no trumpets and there's no drums, that is more of an indictment on the league than it is letting other fans buy the tickets and go to the game and just take your spot. If you want to make change, that's how you do it. You buy, like we've been saying, you buy your ticket, you don't attend, you don't sell your ticket, and you let everybody around the world's first experience with MLS on a continental level be empty stadiums. That's how MLS changes, and that's how MLS goes back into full participation with U.S. Open Cup.
Well, second.
Cool. Now that we've pissed off all of the supporter groups, not just St. Louis, but literally all 29 teams, soon to be 30.
John, get ready to catch that block.
For real. Can't wait for that. Adam, what else is on our list? Do we have anything else we haven't covered?
I mean, we could talk about the NCAA tournament that's starting if we really wanted to. I haven't looked at a bracket, so don't ask me.
I would say let's hold that for maybe next week. We'll kind of do an episode where it's kind of already started. I do want to remind everybody, please fill out your brackets. Which, Cameron, they can find that where again?
If you're joining us again from last year, the email went out this morning inviting you back into the league and reminding you to fill out your brackets. If you want to join us and you're new this year, the best place to do that would be on Twitter X at PodRideThePine. We sent out promo this morning. Has a direct link to it as well as the password you'll need to enter to officially get in.
Cool. We'll throw a link in the description of the video as well. Anything else, boys, before we get out of here?
I do want to talk about golf real quick because I think we're in the I don't want to say we're on the back nine of the PIF and PGA Tour merger, but I think we're pretty damn close to the turn. That's for sure. Uh, with the, I think ratings dropped with the TBC Saga, or not TBC Sawgrass, Jesus, the Players Championship last weekend. I think ratings dropped like maybe 20%, something like that. But they were still up over previous years. This is an opportunity for PGA to make a massive change in what they do. And I know we've all had our thoughts and our grievances against what the live is and what they stand for and how they go about business and all that stuff. But if the PGA Tour can come to some sort of deal with PIF, and it sounds like that is what's happening, that's going to be massive for the game of golf. And if they can get into something similar to an F1 style, like premier golf league, however it is, and it's the top 150 players or whatever it is every week, and some different versions and make it interesting for the fan, golf is going to skyrocket, which is going to suck because it's going to become even more expensive than it already is. Um, but it's going to be actually something more fun to watch on TV and to actually pay attention to.
Yeah, I mean, the TV product has gotten better this year than it was in previous years. It still isn't great. There's still a lot of playing through, an abundance of commercials, watching shots on tape delay. I do feel like since they got the investment from the SSG group, that it seems that coverage has started to shift a little more. They're trying out new things, more with Smiley Kaufman, Isner in the booth, doing interviews with
Those two
players
are
right
great
after
on Friday
rounds.
afternoons, by the way.
They are great. The walk and talks, I think, is another thing that's been a success. As far as the PIF coming into the fold and striking a deal with them, I I don't necessarily think that it would change a lot. I do think it needs to happen. We need a way to get the live guys back on tour. Um, I don't know what the solution is. I think the best one that I've seen, if you're gonna, let them come back into the tour, that's fine. They can play whatever tournament they want. They can get their world golf ranking points that they need to get into the majors, to get into the bigger tournaments, get into signature events, whatever. Until it gets to the money part, you can't let them in without something. So the biggest thing is if they win a tournament, whatever their pot's supposed to be, it all goes back. They don't get money. You can get the points, that's fine. You can get the recognition for winning the PGA event. You don't get the money. You don't get to double dip. You can't take 300 million, leave, fracture the golf world, cause this whole disaster, come back scot free, and then start winning, $4 million when you win the Players. We can't. We have to find some way to do that in the right way. Uh, Unfortunately, even with the for-profit group that's coming out now, PGA Enterprises, Jay Monahan is still in charge with that. I'm not sure how
I
he
don't
keeps falling upwards into new and new jobs. Did you see his
I don't think
interview?
he is though, Cameron. I know he is by title, but let's not avoid the fact that Mr. Eldrick Woods was the very first person to meet with. I can never say the guy's name. I'm not even going to try to say it.
Gary
Meet with the leader of PIF. Yeah, like he had him there. They played golf already. They went on a cruise on Tiger's yacht. Like, let's be serious. It runs through the greatest golfer of all time.
Yeah, there's no easy answers here on how to do all of this. Uh, they have to get it right, though. The game of golf needs them to get it right. Uh, I We got to get away from the grow to game thing. I can't keep playing 6-hour rounds at a Muni in the area. We're gonna have to figure that out. That's more on the courses, I believe, but they have to do something. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of reading the articles. I'm tired of the live guys parading around saying that they got it right. I don't think they got it right. Some of them did. Shout out to Brooks Koepka. That's my man. I don't know the answer. Something needs to be done. Hopefully, this whole saga can go away because this past year and a half, 2 years has been annoying.
I will say this though, like I watch golf way more than the average fan does. I know that. I like the idea that all of these tournaments are getting some sort of publicity, maybe not in the great way, because they're all talking about how nobody knows who's playing. But that's how we find the next greatest golfer. I mean, literally nobody knew who Jake Knapp was up until 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, because he was playing college golf and he got lucky and got into, I forgot what tournament that he got in and won, and he didn't get paid for it, which to me is the dumbest thing in the world.
He was a bouncer at a club in Miami or something.
Yeah, like, and the dude swings the freaking ball, launches off his club at 190 miles an hour. Like, we never would have got to see that if it was a normal full field. You know, like, this is what golf should be about. And I think the mindset of growing the game should probably go from local areas to growing the PGA and growing what it can reach out to, and knowing more people than not. Like, nobody knew who Wyndham Clark was until he won the US Open last year. You know, and then everybody was cheering him because they didn't want White Bread to win again. You know, so like there's so many different guys that are coming through, and you still have the Schauffele's, the McIlroys, the Spieths. Like, these guys are all going to be there. They're all still going to play. Yeah, you don't have Rahm and you don't have Koepka playing every week, but now you have all these guys coming up that are able to compete. And golf is one of those games that you don't have to be the best person in the field every week. You just have to have your game for 1 or 2 rounds, and you can put it together real quick.
I will say that is the best thing that the PGA's done. The signature events, the criteria to get in, based off FedEx points of the past year, FedEx points for anyone who doesn't watch golf. I'm not going to explain it because no one actually knows how.
Because nobody knows.
No one knows.
But it's provocative.
They're monopoly.
Gets the people going.
But they have the signature events spaced out, so there's 3 events in between. If you're someone who's not in like the top 75, I think it is roughly, to get into the signature events, if you win one of those tournaments, if you perform well in those 3 but even don't win one, you earn the opportunity to play in the signature events to get that big money. And that is where like Knapp comes in. He won one of those small events. The next thing you know, he's getting to play in the signature events where he has shots at winning $4 million, get global recognition essentially for winning a tournament with the players that are the best in the world. That's definitely something that they got right.
Cool.
Got them ready for the Masters.
Yes.
Which are we going to be doing our Masters meal again?
Sure.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay.
We're also going to run a Masters Fantasy. It'll be on at Pod Ride the Pine on Twitter whenever we announce it, whenever we're ready to do it. If you're a golf head, go follow us and keep an eye out.
Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get out of here. You just mentioned the Twitter, but do you want to go ahead and run down the socials one more time, Cameron, before we go?
Yeah, Twitter is at Pod Ride the Pine, Instagram at Pod_Ride the Pine, YouTube at RTP, or TikTok at RTP-Kenny.
For now.
It's me every time.
For now.
YouTube, Ride the Pine Podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify. If you're just listening along, go follow the socials. We try and put out some good stuff. Like, subscribe, leave some comments. If you comment on one of our posts, odds are we'll end up getting back to you. We'll try and not argue.
And I'm going to throw this out there. I don't think it's going to be received well, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. If the Luligans or any other supporter group podcast or group is interested in having this discussion with us, maybe there's something that we need to be taught or learned or something, I'm all for it. I'm interested in hearing your reasonings for doing what you're doing.
I welcome it. I would love to hear it.
You're more than welcome to come on the show.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. We got a couple boxes for him to get onto.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get out of here. That's a good episode back. Went a little longer than we normally would, but I think we needed to catch up the last 3 weeks that we weren't here. Like Cameron said, please reach out to us online. I think you can also email us, by the way, at like podridethepine@gmail.com. If you want to get an opinion in through email, please do.
We'll be out our social media intern for missing that one.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we'll reprimand him. But all right, guys, let's get out of here. Enjoy your evening, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye.